Welcome to Send It John Boats. In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can install float pods on the back of your boat with no welding and just a few simple tools. Stick around, show you how we do it. Send it! If you like John boats, mud motors, and things that make you want to just yell, yeah, yeah, then you've come to the right place, partner. If this is your first time on the channel, make sure you go right down below here, hit that subscribe button and a little bell thingy right next to it so that you won't miss any of our upcoming videos. And this video was originally filmed for my hydrographics channel way back in the day, so we're working with kind of old footage here, but I did go through and kind of edit it as best I can. The audio levels may be just a little bit off, so I pre-apologize for that, but everything else in the video is still relevant. Let's get to it. So I bought these float pods from Beavertail. They used to sell them on Amazon, but for whatever reason, they're not anymore. But I'll leave a link in the description to Beavertail where you can get yourself a set of these for your boat if you'd like to. They do come with instructions for install, and they have a couple of different ways that you can install them, but I'm not going to follow the instructions. So the two ways that they recommend to install them is to either have them TIG welded onto the boat or cut an access panel right here, bolt them into the back of the boat, and then just use some silicone sealant to seal the access panel back down. I don't really like that, so we're going to try something different. So before any of you lose your mind in the comments section, I already know I am not installing this the way that they say to. I get it. We're trying something different. My idea is to scuff the back of this as well as remove the paint and scuff the back of the boat. We're going to install this with 3M 5200, which supposedly never comes off once you put it on. Don't know, but that's what they say. And we're going to use some really big 1/4-inch rivets to install this as well. And considering that the entire boat is assembled with rivets, it should work out just fine. So the reason that we're installing these float pods is because I have a motor build that's going to be quite heavy on the back of this boat, and I don't want the back end to squat. So this is going to be used to add extra flotation and buoyancy on the back of the boat and keep the back end up once the motor is installed. Now, depending on who you ask, there's a bunch of different opinions on how these things should be installed in regards to the angle that these sit up off the back of the boat. What you want is for these things to be a little bit above level in the very, very back so that when the boat planes, these things are not dragging on the very, very back end in the water. Now, I got lucky with Project Bottomland Bateau. These just happen to fit and give me the perfect angle without any shims or without having to adjust these whatsoever. So all I'm gonna have to do is remove the paint, scuff everything up, put the 3M on there, slap these things on the back, and rivet them in place. So let's get started. So I've got this thing mocked up real quick so I can show you what I was talking about with the angles. I've just got a piece of plywood here for the bottom of the boat to give it a nice flat surface to sit on, and I've got the back end of the float pods just propped up with a couple of pieces of wood. So the angle that I was talking about is this angle right here. As you'll see from the bottom of the boat back to here, there's a slight gap back in the back, and up towards the front, there's no gap at all. According to the manufacturer, that's exactly what you're looking for. If your transom angle is a little bit different, you may have to either adjust this out or in, depending on how much of a gap you need to leave down here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use a permanent marker to mark the outline of the float pod so I know exactly where I need to remove all the paint off the back of the boat. I'm going to go ahead and remove that with a flap disc. This is a 120 grit flap disc. We're going to do that, and I'm going to scuff up the back of the float pod so we can get it ready for the 3M. So what I've done is I put this ratchet strap on the back of the boat and attached it to the trailer. That way I can just keep this float pod right where I want it. I've got it to where it's pretty much flush up here. Because of the angle, it's a little bit inside of the transom right here, but it's completely flush on the bottom. So now that the float pod's securely in place, I'm going to go ahead and start drilling a couple of holes to get my rivets started. So the rivets I'm going to be using are these big 1/4-inch rivets. They are sealed end, so I don't have to worry about any water leaking through. But this is what I'm going to be putting in there. These are aluminum. Remember, only put aluminum rivets in an aluminum boat. Do not use steel. I don't remember which size drill bit it is that gets up to the 1/4-inch. It's not an exact 1/4-inch hole that you need. So I'm just going to start at an 1/8 inch. I'm going to drill my top 2 corner holes so I know where those 2 rivets will go, and I'll work my way up until that rivet fits, and I'll let you know which size it is. Alright, so the hole size did wind up being just a slight bit bigger than a 1/4-inch. I ended up just using the 1/4-inch and just kind of wallered it out just a hair, just enough so that this rivet would fit in there real nice and secure and still be tight. So I've got the first 2 holes drilled, they're ready to go. Only thing I need to do is clean everything really good one more time, set it all back in place, and we're gonna put this 5200 3M on there. I'm gonna put a pretty good coat on the whole backside of this float pod, and then once we're completely done with the install on this float pod, I'll go around the entire edge and seal up that little seam. All right, so the last thing to do before we run out of daylight is I'm going to go ahead and pop these 2 rivets. I've got these 2 in place just to hold everything in place while we get the rest of the holes drilled. So I'm going to go ahead and pop these with our big rivet tool. If you haven't seen where I got this rivet tool, I'll leave a link down in the description box below so that you can see that, but we've used this on a previous video. I'm going to go ahead and get these done, and then we'll get the rest of the holes drilled, get the rest of the rivets installed, and we'll finish up tomorrow when I've got more daylight.
I went by your house, what a big mistake.
So it is the next morning. It got way too dark to film last night. I couldn't hardly see anything, and it was also too dark to work. And because it was too dark to work, I made a couple of mistakes. I have no problem admitting when I screw up, and I definitely made some mistakes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you to the inside of the boat, show you what I messed up, and show you how I fixed it this morning so that we don't make the same mistake on the other float pod. All right, so what you're looking at is the inside of the back of the transom skin, and the float pod is just behind here. What I did last night is I got this one in straight and this one in straight, and I'm surprised I did that because I was actually working from the outside of the boat. What I should have done was get on the inside of the boat like I wound up doing for the rest of these so that I make sure they were all in straight. So all the rest of these were crooked, and when I drilled this hole, I was not thinking about how large this thing opens up. So when I got down in here, I wasn't able to get a good angle on it, and I wound up getting this one in at a slight angle, and it was not making good contact. So I ended up drilling this rivet out, put a new one in, and then once I got back here and started actually shaking the back of the boat and picking this thing up, I realized how much play there was in this back transom skin. Now we're going to fix that with the new transom. It's going to help stiffen it up, but I wanted this thing to be as secure as possible. So what I ended up doing was I took my 1/4-inch rivets and I got some 1-inch stainless steel fender washers that are 1/4 inch, and they fit these really, really well.
Hold on, wait, time out just a second. Did he just say stainless steel on aluminum? Oh my God, the boat's gonna rot and it's gonna corrode and the whole thing's just gonna fall apart and we're all gonna die. Not so fast, Scooter. Boat builders have been using this for years and years and years, and thousands upon thousands of people have bought boats with stainless steel screws and stainless steel washers touching aluminum. And guess what? Those boats are still floating. Now, if I could have found some type of aluminum washer that was actually strong enough to hold these float pods on the back of the boat, I would have used them. But there weren't any aluminum washers anywhere near me, not to mention when I walked in at Ace Hardware, I was like, hey, do you have aluminum washers? And the guy looked at me like, So for those of y'all that don't know, yes, you can use stainless steel and aluminum together. It will be just fine. But just to kick it up a notch, I went ahead and coated everything in 5200 before I mated them together. So there's really no aluminum and stainless steel touching anyways, so everyone just calm down. And even though I took all this time to explain to you that I did it and it's gonna be okay and I really don't care what you think, there's still gonna be some aeronautical space rocket surgeon or something or another that's gonna go down in the comment section and just absolutely lose their minds because of using stainless steel and aluminum on the same boat and they're touching. Guess what has two thumbs and doesn't care? This guy.
And I ended up reinstalling all of the rivets. I drilled them all out, reinstalled it with the washer to help give the skin a little bit more rigidity. So now that it's in there, as you can see, you can move the entire boat just by grabbing the back of this float pod. So now that we got one float pod installed, all we gotta do is install the other one. I'm gonna do it the exact same way, nothing different. I'll speed the camera footage through so that you can actually see it, but I'm not gonna go through and explain everything. Now that we've got enough daylight, hopefully I won't screw it up this time. Now we're gonna roll those bloopers here for you in just a second because I know you guys only came here to see the bloopers, but let's take a moment and remember, money can't buy happiness, but it can buy you a boat. See you guys. So this is part 3 of our is it part 3? Or is it part 2? 3 or? I don't know, I need to check. 1, 2, it is part 3, I was right. We got enough daylight and enough mosquitoes. Jesus. We finish up this transom that was loud. Oh my God, it's been spring for like 5 whole minutes and there's already a million mosquitoes. Our transom rebuild, and for today's project, we are going to be holding these big square things. They're not square. They're, what is that, a rhombus? I don't know. Held in place, I'm gonna go ahead and start drilling my plot. Don't take off just yet. I've got stuff to say, but I don't remember what it is. Appreciate everyone for watching. That's not proper English at all. So according to the instructions and everything I've read on the internet, which is always correct, it's gonna be a really cool video project. And I've got a like that. They're gonna bolt on just fine. Well, no, they're not gonna bolt on. They're gonna rivet on because we're gonna do something different that's not in the instruction manual because I'm crazy like that. Inside of the boat, show you exactly what I can't even talk right. This is part 3 of our transom install, and the next step we have is to I just said install. I can't say install twice. Install. It's another word for install. Install?